Talk about Mickey Cohen being brutal, a killer, a murderer, a psycho. He's got a guy laying on the floor, two cars on either end of him, his hands tied to the bumper of one, his feet to the bumper of another. The guy's cussing Mickey Cohen out. Mickey Cohen looks down and says, "Let it rip." And they do. Man, did they ever need a gangster squad in LA for this guy? Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. Before we get into today's movie, it's Mob Movie Monday, definitely a follower favorite. I want to thank all of you who subscribe. We've crossed the 700,000 threshold, I would say. And we really do appreciate it. So all of you that have subscribed, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. For those of you that do enjoy the content, have not yet subscribed, we'd appreciate it if you would. We would thank you very much, and we will continue to deliver the best possible content that we can. MichaelFranzese.com. It is growing. Our community is growing in leaps and bounds. More people coming on every day, and I guarantee you they're benefiting from it and they're satisfied. MichaelFranzese.com. Take a pic. If you like it, jump on board. I guarantee you'll be happy. It'll be a benefit to your life in many, many ways. So, what do we have today? Gangster Squad. You ever hear of that movie? It was released in 2013, had a brilliant cast. Josh Brolin, Nick Nolte, Sean Penn, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone. Great cast, whole bunch of great characters in that film. It was basically a movie about Detective O'Mara from the LAPD and his fight against Mickey Cohen, the big gangster in Los Angeles at the time, along with Bugsy Siegel. But this movie is about O'Mara and Mickey Cohen. Was it done well? I mean, with that cast, it's pretty difficult not to have a good film. I can tell you this, it was basically fiction. There was some truth to it, like all of these films. They are, many of them, seated in reality, but they do take dramatic liberty to kind of enhance the enjoyment or the entertainment value for all of us that watch it. They did quite a bit of that here. Although I did read and I did hear that Josh Brolin met with Detective O'Mara and was very impressed by him, very impressed by the story, and he really, immersed himself in the part. And I will say this, Sean Penn, who's not one of my favorite actors, I don't know why. I mean, I wouldn't go to see a movie because Sean Penn is starring in it. Not that he's a bad actor, it's just, some actors appeal to you more than others. He doesn't look like Mickey Cohen. I don't believe he really acted like Mickey Cohen in this movie. Does a good job as an actor? Sure. But I don't think he accurately portrayed the real character of Mickey Cohen. That's my feeling. Let me dispel a few things about the movie that are just not true, straight out not true. They make Mickey Cohen out to be a really sadistic type of guy. I don't believe there's any evidence of that. He was a gangster, yes. He wasn't a Roy DeMeo, at least he wasn't portrayed like that in anything that I've read or heard about him, and I have heard some things about him, but they make him out to be a real brutal, gruesome kind of guy in this film. Again, entertainment value, dramatic liberty, we know it happens all the times in films. The movie opens up with Josh Brolin, Detective O'Mara, kind of telling his story. He was away, he fought in the war, he was an LA guy, he fought in the war, came back to LA, and was very upset because he felt that gangsters were taking over, the city was going to ruin, too many cops were on the take, and he wanted to do something about it. He was a awarded veteran, and he had a good moral standpoint about him, and he wanted to change things. That's how it opens up, with that kind of dialogue, and it's a voiceover. And then we switch to a scene where we see Mickey Cohen, Sean Penn, standing over the body, guy's alive, of a guy who's chained or tied to two cars going in the opposite direction. Hands this way, feet that way. And the guy is saying some real unpleasant things to Mickey, and Mickey's looking down on him. He gives the order, and boom, they rip the guy apart. You don't see him ripping the guy apart, but that's what they do. pretty sadistic. I don't know if that ever happened in real life. I've never heard of it, never seen anything about it, but that was the opening of the movie to try to let you know that you are dealing with a real evil character in Mickey Cohen. Not saying that that was true, no evidence of it. A couple other things. The downfall of Mickey Cohen, as portrayed in this movie, they claim that he was arrested for murder, charged with murder and got a life sentence. That's not true. Mickey Cohen was indicted, I'm sure more than once, but was convicted twice of tax evasion. He got a couple of years on each. He was later released. They also intimate, that Mickey Cohen was beaten to death with a pipe while in prison. I think they said it was in Alcatraz. That's also not true. Mickey Cohen died a free man, and he died of cancer from a botched operation, I think. I think he had surgery. They misdiagnosed something, and he died basically of cancer. So those things in the movie were not true. Does it work for the movie? I guess so. But again, when you watch some of these movies, you can't be thinking this is a history lesson. You got to understand, it's entertainment, it's a movie. It happens. The Godfather was fictional. Parts of Goodfellas were fictional. Parts of Casino were fictional. Parts of Donnie Brasco were fictional. It's just the way it happens. We're in Hollywood. They make things up for dramatic purposes to do what they feel is better entertaining you. So that's happened quite a bit in this movie. Now, was there a gangster squad back then? Yes, I think it was called the Gangster Squad, but in this movie, it was a covert operation. Nobody was supposed to know that they even existed. As a matter of fact, their badges were taken away. There is a scene there where Nick Nolte, who I love as an actor, played Chief Parker, and he's got O'Mara in his office, and he's the one that's telling O'Mara, we're going to form this covert squad, and you're going to clean up the city. You're going to go after Mickey Cohen. You're going to clean up the city. But your badges are going to be taken away. Nobody's going to know who you are. You're not going to get medals of honor for any of this. You're not going to get rewards. Your reward is going to be personal, the fact that you're doing a great thing for the city. That's how it's depicted in the movie. In real life, no, they don't do those kind of things. Yeah, they have agents going undercover, but they're sanctioned. This is not a covert operation, so to speak. The government knows that these people are being used. The police know that these people are being used. In many cases, not everybody, but the people that engage them to do this, their superiors obviously know that it's happening. But there was a gangster squad, and O'Mara was in charge of it, and I believe it did come down from Chief Parker. So those things are true. It's interesting in a lot of ways. Josh Brolin is a very moral guy. His wife doesn't want him to undertake this task. He said, you did enough. Mickey Cohen is not your problem. You don't have to do things like this. We see some interaction with that. I do understand that O'Mara was very close with his wife. I read that. He was a pretty decent guy from what I understand. And Josh Brolin, in his character as O'Mara, kind of was portrayed the same way. All right, so as the movie, goes on, it's all about now this gangster squad that O'Mara forms. And one of the participants is Ryan Gosling. He plays a detective, and he joins the squad, and he's a pretty prominent character in this. And then he brings together a few other people with special skills. He tells them it's a covert operation. They are all guys that want to clean up the city, so they all join. So they have this squad. The entire movie is about them going after Mickey Cohen. Mickey Cohen is doing some things to really upset them. We see him be sadistic in many, many ways. Let me give you a little background about the real Mickey Cohen. He didn't originate here in Los Angeles. He originated back east. He was actually in Chicago for a while. He worked under Al Capone. I think he was close to Capone's brother. He also got involved with mob guys in Cleveland and in New York. Eventually, he connected with Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel. I think he got in some trouble in Cleveland, and Meyer sent him out here to LA to work with Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy actually came out first, from what I understand, and then Meyer went to work with him. Interesting, this is the Jewish mob. There is a scene, by the way, where Mickey Cohen is sitting down with Jack Dragna, who was the mafia boss out here in LA, Cosa Nostra boss, and he really rips into him. Dragna is mad at Cohen. He's telling him off for the way he's behaving out here. And Mickey Cohen goes off on him, tells him, this is my town, I've been sent out here, and blah, blah, blah. But he really goes off on Jack Dragna. I doubt that ever happened. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that never happened. But again, in the movie, it works to show what kind of a character they wanted Mickey Cohen to be portrayed as. Real bad guy. So throughout the film, there are various scenes where the Gangster Squad is doing everything to upset Mickey Cohen's operation. And what was his operation? Well, he had a big sports book out here. You know, he was supposedly, I think he was, Bugsy Siegel's guy out here in LA, helping him run his sports book and his betting parlors. He had a couple of clubs that he was involved in. So the Gangster Squad is now doing everything to interrupt his operations. They burn down places, they go after people, they do a lot of stuff. There's one scene actually when the Gangster Squad gets arrested by police in Burbank because allegedly Mickey Cohen had his hands into the police department, that he had a lot of people on the payroll back then. You know, he probably did. I don't think it was as blatant and as widespread as we're seeing it in this movie. I mean, look, we had cops on the payroll too. You know, there was a police department, I'm not going to mention the exact precinct, but back in Brooklyn that I had carte blanche. 2 o'clock in the morning, I was able to go in there, open up their files, and look at whatever I wanted. We had contacts that way. So that stuff does happen. It's not as widespread, I think, as people are led to believe. But yes, it does happen. We do get the politicians. They are on our payroll. We do get favors as a result. It happens. So even though it's exaggerated in this movie, yes, I'm sure that he did have a few people on the payroll, especially back then when, you know, things were fairly, a little bit more corrupt than they are now. Maybe, you know, things are happening in D.C. that to me are worse than it's ever been before. But anyway, let's proceed. I don't want to get into all of that. So we see this disruption by the Gangster Squad continuously throughout the movie, and it really is upsetting Cohen, and Cohen is getting irate about all of this stuff. He beats up a cop when one of the betting parlors was destroyed by the Gangster Squad. They light money on fire. They blow bomb in the place. They break the whole thing up. Cops were supposed to be watching it. There's a scene there where Mickey Cohen comes in. He was an ex-boxer, by the way. He starts beating up the cop, kicking him on the ground, the whole thing. He's mad. I doubt that ever happened also, but we're in a movie, again. So that's how the movie proceeds. There is an interesting kind of love triangle here in that Emma Stone, who she's a great character. She's a tremendous actor. She is Mickey Cohen's girlfriend. By the way, in real life, Mickey Cohen was dating a prostitute who he eventually married. That was his wife at one point. But I don't know how Emma Stone was portrayed here, but she was Mickey Cohen's girlfriend. She happens to connect also with Ryan Gosling. And she's sleeping with Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Gosling really likes her and wants her to break away from Mickey Cohen. There's a scene there where Emma Stone actually witnesses a murder by Mickey Cohen. Mickey Cohen kills somebody, this guy that played a pretty prominent role in the film. He was actually a friend of Ryan Gosling's who was helping Ryan Gosling get Emma Stone away from Mickey Cohen. Mickey Cohen kind of finds out about some things that this guy, I think his name was Jack in the movie, does, and he kills him. It's in the backyard of a house. Emma Stone happens to be there. She's hiding and she sees it, and now they want her to be a witness against Mickey Cohen to put him away for life. This stuff didn't really happen, but this is the movie. So we do see Ryan Gosling wrestle Emma Stone away. Ryan Gosling, he goes through a bunch of changes in the movie. He's a very upset kind of guy, hates Mickey Cohen with a passion, of course, because of his relationship with Emma Stone, and even beyond that, just hates him. And we see him going through, some transitions and challenges throughout the movie. He plays a great part. He's a good actor. Yeah, this all leads up to the climactic ending where Josh Brolin gets called on the carpet by Chief Parker for some things that were done that shouldn't have been done. He acted out of character. Oh, there is a great scene when the Gangster Squad is breaking out of a jail in Burbank just before Mickey Cohen's guys come to pick them up. The police were corrupt in Burbank. Mickey Cohen was sending some guys to pick up the Gangster Squad, Josh Brolin and a few others, and they were going to kill him. And we see a scene where they break out of jail. Ryan Gosling actually comes in and saves them. It's a good scene, watch it. But this all leads up to the climactic ending where somehow O'Mara and Mickey Cohen are facing off and they fight. Actually fight, and Mickey Cohen was a boxer. For a while, he's getting the best of Josh Brolin, on and on and on. And then at the end of the fight, Josh Brolin gets the best of Mickey Cohen, knocks him out or whatever, and he's the hero. And that's how it ends. And like I say, they said he got a life sentence for murder. Not true. Again, Mickey Cohen 2 times was jailed for tax evasion. He got out on those charges, and he didn't die in prison from a lead pipe. He died outside from cancer. So basically that's it. Again, a good film. I definitely suggest or recommend you watch it. I watched it on Cinemax, on my service. You can get it for free. I'm sure you can watch it anywhere. You can go online and get it. But it's a good film. Highly recommend it. I think you'll enjoy it. So that's another one down the tubes, another one we got. We're running out of movies. You know what we're going to start to do next? We're going to do some good prison films. There's a bunch of them out there that I really enjoyed, and I think you will. And hey, it's all part of it. Before I go, I want to tell you an experience I had with the LA mob. Whenever I left New York and I had to do business in another city, Chicago, Cleveland, Tampa, New Orleans, I would have to check in with the mob boss there or somebody in charge. I'd have to let them know that I was there and wanted to maybe do some business in the town. I was told that by my boss at the time. Whenever I went out to LA, they told me, do whatever you want. Don't worry about it. If we get a beef from those guys, we'll resolve it. It was kind of the Mickey Mouse mob out there. We didn't really hold them in high regard. And I'm not saying being demeaning to Mickey Cohen. That was before my time. I'm telling you during my time. I'll tell you one incident. I was in prison in Terminal Island, 1986, 87. And I was there with a couple of the mob guys from L.A. Pete Milano, Sam Fiorentino, a couple other guys. They were all in there. Some of them were in there for shaking down bookmakers. I never understood that charge. How do you shake down a bookmaker who's an illegal guy to begin with? I don't know. I didn't get it. And a few other minor charges. Anyway, I was always courteous to them. I was courteous to Pete. Pete Milano was originally from Cleveland. His father was a boss back there. He came out to LA, settled out there. Sam Fiorentino, nice guy, had connections in New Orleans, was married to Keely Smith, Louis Prima's ex-wife. Nice guys. But, they used to kind of hang out and, they used to tell war stories and play cards and just do nothing. They were just sit around type of guys. Me, I was different. When I was out on the yard, I wanted to stay active. So I would play softball, I'd walk the track, I'd do the things that I could do to keep my mind occupied and keep me in shape physically. And a lot of the black guys, I would play with them because they like to do the same thing. They played ball or whatever, and I got friendly with a couple of them. So one day, Pete Milano sent somebody to come and get me, and he wanted to talk to me. So I was very respectful. I was a capo at the time. He was the boss, so I was respectful. So I go in to see him, and he's got a couple of guys, and Sam is there, and he says, Michael, I got to ask you something. I said, whatever you want, Pete. What is it? He said, why don't you hang out with us? We're tight here. We're all Italians, We sit down, we talk, we go in the cafeteria. You don't sit with us. You got a problem with us in any way? I said, Pete, have I ever been disrespectful to you in any way? He said, no, I'm not saying that. I said, Sam, have I been disrespectful to you? He said, no. And Sam was a higher up too. He was an official. Any of the other guys here, you got any complaint? Have I ever disrespected you in any way? They said no. I said, Pete, let me tell you something. I'm not here because of a black guy. Because he said, you hang around with all the black guys. That's who I see you with all the time. I said, first of all, it's not all the time. I said, Rosario Gambino is my cellmate. I says, I don't hang with anybody. I said, but I associate with who I want to in here. I said, let me tell you this. Don't talk to me about other guys. I'm here because of an Italian guy that turned on me. I'm not here because of a black guy, a Puerto Rican guy, a white. I'm here because an Italian guy turned on me. I said, that's number one. I said, so don't knock me for associating with other people. Number two, I don't like playing cards. That's not how I want to do my time. Number three, I don't like to tell war stories. I said, I heard it all before. I've been there. I've done that. I've experienced it. It doesn't interest me, Pete. So let me just very nicely and respectfully tell you this. You do your time the way you want to do it, and I hope it ends for you soon. You get the hell out of here. I said, then let me do my time the way I want to do it. I said, we'll be friends. Respectful, friends. We're both Amiga Nostra. We get it. So let's just leave it at that. And he said, fine. He was okay with it. And again, there was no disrespect, but the LA mob was not recognized by us in New York as anything, as a real family. And that didn't mean that we disrespected them, but that's just how we treated them. So I thought I'd let you know. It was a little different back then, but remember, Mickey Cohen wasn't Italian, he wasn't part of the mob. Bugsy Siegel, Meyer Lansky, Yes, Lucky Luciano at the time. Siegel was out here on the behest of Lansky and Luciano, so he was really affiliated. Mickey Cohen got close to Bugsy Siegel, so there was that relationship there back with the New York guys. It wasn't the LA guys, it was the New York guys that controlled LA back then. So, just a little bit more information I provide you with. So, I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to continue to do the Mob Movie Mondays, not every Monday, but we're going to do them on occasion. We have a decent film that we think you're going to enjoy the review and my perspective on. So, that's it for today. How do I always leave you, my friends? Be safe. Be healthy. I really want God to bless you all, and I really will see you next time. Thank you.